Fellow Azerothians, this is just another VOD review that I'm doing while I drink my coffee this morning. This is a Shadowmoon Burial Ground 17 that I'm doing with my friend Darbu the Tank. He invited me to join for his queue, which is pretty lucky for me because my item level is lower than the other people in this group. So yeah, let's see what I could have done better and how this thing went. So in this pack, I'm focusing on the Bone Mender just because I want to make sure that the Shadowman definitely doesn't go off, and in pugs, you can't be too sure that anyone's going to interrupt it, so frequently when I'm in a pug situation, I'll just try to target whatever mob has the most dangerous kick, and make sure that that kick happens. Whereas, like, when I'm playing in a more organized situation with my friends, we can, like, divide and conquer when it comes to the kicks.
Rivers of the damned, rise. Rise in the name of darkness. Rise in the name of Ner'zhul.
One thing that I did there that is an important thing to do is when you're using deep breath in like close quarters like this, I wanted to just make sure that I was able to hit the mobs with deep breath, but that I didn't like step on one of those purple runes. I'm not really sure exactly what happens if you step on the purple rune, but I know it's bad, so I try to avoid it at all costs.
It will be your final rest.
Oh my god, so this part, I kept charging up my Eternity Surge to try to use it on like all these skitterlings, but because they were moving, I just kept being like LOS'd, and then when I finally wasn't LOS'd, the skitterling that I was targeting just straight up died, so in the future on that pack, I feel like I should definitely just use like maybe only a Zero Strike and Pyre, unless I have like my tip the scales, because there was just like no way I was gonna actually be able to cast Eternity Surge on all of those skitterlings in that situation, and I effectively just did like nothing instead of things. So I don't know why I did that. Alright, first boss, let's go.
Ancestors of the Shadowmoon, shine in the darkness. Lend me your strength.
I'm just casting a Zur Strike while I move to get my my procs there and reposition. And then I'm just chaining my disintegrates aggressively since I'm in my Dragon Rage window.
Yes, the perfect sacrifice.
And here I totally like didn't notice the ad, so that was my bad. I was like so focused on trying to clear. But at least we didn't get stunned like those guys, so. So one thing that I do is that I try to chain my disintegrates together. So basically Disintegrate has a pandemic window mechanic. So if you start casting another Disintegrate while your current Disintegrate still has like one tick left, it'll carry over that tick onto the next Disintegrate, so you won't actually lose any damage. And this is like super useful, but one thing when you're like getting into it is that you have to also remember that if Disintegrate is not the next spell you're gonna cast, that you still want to make sure to let your Disintegrate channel all the way through so that you don't lose any ticks. So basically, if Disintegrate is your next spell, then you want to chain your Disintegrate, but if something else is going to be your next spell, then you want to make sure to channel the full Disintegrate. instead of like cutting it off with some other spell. So I'm trying not to interrupt here. I think I probably would have been doing more damage with my pyres already, I'm noticing, if I had been maybe targeting a mob further into the middle of the pack. I just usually try to focus the dominators down because I know that the subjugated souls take reduced damage when the dominators are channeling on them. So I usually try to kill the dominators first. I'm not sure if that's like necessarily the correct idea. Oh shit, what happened there? Okay, so we're fine, and we're fine. This mob is running over and it melees us. That's so weird though, because my threat bars were showing that the tank had aggro, yet the mob ran over and meleeed me?
The elements answer to me!
Do those souls do like a fixate mechanic maybe? I didn't see like any eyes over my head. I'll have to look that up because I don't know why that mob would have killed me right there. Anyway, it's a long walk, so I decided to wait and hopefully get a res. So, I don't know how those guys got pulled either. But I thought maybe this was what we were trying to do, so I tried to reposition over here so that I could use my deep breath back the other way to stun everything, but it seems like we're just wiping.
The elements answer to me!
Five, four, three,
That's so weird.
2,
Why
1.
was my weak core showing the square when I clearly had the swirly wind debuff? As we run back into our walk of shame, we're just coming to the consensus that no one intended that pack to be pulled.
Your undying souls will fuel my ascension from the darkness.
I should have used my fire breath earlier there, definitely. I sat on it for a while. Oh yeah, I was trying to interrupt these guys with my knock and my wing bucket, but apparently they're not knockable. This was super funny right here. So the tank says in the chat, please don't walk on the graves. And then This guy immediately walks over two of them. It was like excellent comedic timing.
The elements answer to me! Yes, come closer.
Precasting a living flame and going straight into my staff here. Then I'm gonna pop Dragon Rage and get my extensions going, my empower abilities, and then start using a Xur Strike to fill and chaining my disintegrates aggressively. And what that means is chaining them after 3 ticks every time, instead of just on the last tick. And the reason that we do this is because that'll give you the maximum amount of cooldown reduction on your empower spells, which will allow you to potentially get another extension in your buff window. It didn't work out for me there, but I have had it work sometimes when when I get more procs basically of my free disintegrates and don't have to like cast my filler as much. I think potentially if I had more haste built, it would be a little bit easier to guarantee that I get that. I wonder if since I'm not able to get that last extension a lot of the time, if it would be better for me to... Oh, I was trying to pull that grave. I learned this really cool strat last time I did this dungeon, where you can pull that spirit right before the boss dies, and then when he dies, all the pulled spirits just despawn. So if you're able to do it at the right time, then you just don't have to deal with that spirit at all. And that spirit is like the bane of my existence, because it has killed me so many times when the exhumer exhumes it in this pack, and it just like death blasts me from behind while nobody notices that it's even there. So I was really excited to try the strat of like trying to despawn it using the boss, but I definitely did it too late and we ended up having to kill it anyway. I'm sitting on my empower spell again, which is a mistake for sure. I should be using this on cooldown. And then using my fire breath there with like a 1 charge fire breath, that's like also not really a good choice because now it's probably gonna die before the dot ends. And if I had just done that like right when the fire breath came off, then I would have actually gotten the full time out of it. So delaying it totally was like fucked up right there. I'm just targeting the corpse spider in this pack to make sure that I'm ready to kick. And with these spiders, I like to try to sit on my kick a little bit until the end of the cast just to see if anyone else is going to kick. Because it's a really important kick to get, the necrotic burst, and I really want to make sure that we don't overlap our kicks for these. Especially for this next pack that has spiders in it. I'll talk about that when we get there. I wasn't sure how to clear here, so I ended up just using rescue. And this is a really great use for rescue, like in a situation like that where you can't necessarily see who to clear with, you can look on your frames for the debuff and find someone who's opposite to you and just rescue on them and definitely get the clear. Oh yeah, so in this pack I like to try to wait. I like to try to wait with my kick and be ready to kick whichever one someone else isn't kicking. Which only half worked out for the first kick because the one that I didn't kick went off, but you know, I can only kick one thing, so what can you do? I think I could have done significantly more damage in that pack if I had been faster getting to it. Here I was holding my Dragon Rage because I thought that maybe the bats were about to be pulled, but then they weren't part of the pull, so I just used Dragon Rage on the Carrion Worm because I didn't want to hold it any longer, but then they came back by and we ended up pulling them. Oh, see, I missed my extension there. I could have totally extended with my Fire Breath, but I was too busy like trying to tail swipe the bats. I think one of my issues is that I'm really focused on utility and making sure to help with those things, and sometimes I kind of over prioritize it. I think it's really important, and I think it's one of my strengths as a player that I am focused on that stuff, but there are times like that, for example, where it just wasn't the right time for me to do that, and it wasn't really necessary for me to do that right at that moment. And I think it would have been more helpful if I had extended my buff and done more DPS, potentially.
Lightning.
5, 4.
My Dragon Rage is coming up in 12 seconds, so I'm just gonna go ahead and use my Empower abilities. I maybe could have saved my Eternity Search there. But at this point, I think I'm waiting to use Dragon Rage maybe for the ads to come out. So with this boss, I noticed that sometimes people ignore the ads and sometimes people kill them. And I generally just try to notice what my team is doing and make sure I'm on the same page as them, whichever choice they happen to be making. So I noticed that everyone was killing the ads here, so I too turned on the ads. Where is he? See, right there I was aggressively chaining my disintegrates by chaining them at the 3rd tick, and I think because Dragon Rage wasn't up, that was kind of a misplay, and I should have just always been chaining them at the last tick. Because the strategy that I was doing, it clips a tick off the end of your disintegrates, like for the second one, and while that's good during your buff window, I should definitely try not to be doing that otherwise, because I don't want to be losing any ticks if I don't have to.
Marked by lightning.
Once again in this pack, I'm just gonna get ready to kick a spider. What is that fire thing? I've seen multiple people using that, and it seems really strong. I want one. Nice, got my extensions there. I'm using hover here so that I can move with the mob and with the tank without having to lose uptime on my casting. I honestly should have moved even further so I was ready to start hitting these mobs sooner.
Marked by lightning.
I used Zephyr there just because with these mobs they always use their big AoE Void Pulse like right at the beginning. So I like to try to use Zephyr at the beginning to help mitigate that initial like bunch of damage. And I'm just using my Obsidian Scales for this one and hoping that will kill one of them before they start doing it again. Luckily the healer is keeping us alive here. Used my Obsidian Scales a second too late there. I think I was trying to greed, I didn't want to cancel my cast. But on a higher key that probably would have killed me.
The Shadowmoon cannot be defeated. We walk in the realm of death itself.
I'm trying to stand far away from my team here to try to kind of bait those purple circles away from the melee.
Marked by lightning.
I was feeling kind of nervous here, hoping to clear, and I wasn't sure which mob to hit, so I ended up just kind of doing nothing for a couple of seconds in a little bit of panic. So that was nice. And it's nice that they position further away from me here because I would like to beat the circles away, but I also didn't want to move. That was definitely too close. I'd like to drop it further. Mirzo was after me, dude. He shot malevolence at me like all of the time. And the cone is really big at that part. It's a long way to move. So I noticed that it seems like he's always going to the far left skeleton on the ritual bones. So now I know for the future that that's probably what he's gonna do whenever we do this key.
5,
And hopefully I won't like stand around doing nothing. I'm sitting on my trinket. I definitely, oh, well, at least I used it. Better than not using it at all. And I think we're just gonna finish the boss here. Nice! Yeah, I got 9 score for that, which is awesome. And though there were a lot of mistakes I made, it was still a pretty easy +2. That's gonna do it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Later!